There is a supernatural world that surrounds us. Sometimes it manifests to people like you and me. You'll hear stories about this, so much more, right here on Supernatural Confrontations. I realize that we did Supernatural Confrontations yesterday, but there's a couple of stories I want to get to. One is a bleeding statue allegedly in Mexico, and we'll get into that. And the other one is apparently 200 Muslim men had dreams where Jesus appeared to them in the dream, and they gave their life to Christ. So we'll talk about both of those things. I think you'll find it interesting. But first, a word from our trusted sponsor. Excess belly fat has been deemed the most dangerous fat of them all, as it's linked to so many health issues. The reason being, excess belly fat grows deep in the abdominal cavity and puts pressure on some of the body's most vital organs. That's one of the reasons why myself, along with so many people, are beginning to turn to this amazing new substance, which is thoughtfully formulated with science-backed ingredients that promote reduced fat storage, help to speed up the breakdown of fat, support weight management, reduce cravings, and boost metabolism. Folks, the best part I love is that you can get 51% off for the rest of the month, or until they sell out, whichever comes first. Get yours now by going to trimwithla.com. Once again, that's trimwithla.com, trimwithla.com. I'm going to give this 30 days. I'll report back to you, and we'll see what it does. Folks, thanks so much for coming. Let's get right into it. I know your time is valuable, and that's why we try to just cut right to the chase. So this is from Fact Check, and Catholic News Agency printed this. Did Our Lady of Sorrows statue in Mexico really shed tears? Claim. Local Mexican media reported that a 9-year-old boy was the first to see the supposed tears flowing from the eyes of a statue of Our Lady of Sorrows in a chapel in the village of El Chanal, just north of the city of Colima. Other residents subsequently said they also saw tears. The chapel is under the jurisdiction of St. John Paul II Shrine in the city, which is 300 miles west of Mexico City. The church responds. Father Gerardo Lopez Herrera, communications director for the Diocese of Colima, said a priest went and examined the statue and determined that no miracle was involved. As the news of the supposed tears spread, the local press reported that some people interpreted the Virgin's supposed tears as a response to the violence that is shaking the region. Colima holds the first place in the 2022 list of the 50 most violent cities in the world in a report compiled by the Citizen Council for Public Safety and Criminal Justice. On November 15th, Lopez told CNA's Catholic News Agency, Spanish language news partner, that image is a representation of a sorrowful virgin. At the time it was made, the artist placed some silicone tears on it. So there's a shot of what it looks like. You can see right up here in the upper corner. So let's just see what this thing looks like, and I'll roll the tape. Here we go. So this is a shot of the statue in question, and you can see that it appears like it is crying. But according to the artist who created it, they put the silicone tears there. So the reason why I went with this, and I'll just stop it right there to give you an idea of what we're looking at here, is, first of all, God doesn't do parlor tricks. That's number one. The Lord doesn't need bleeding statues or crying statues to do things like this. Can he do it? Yes. But I don't think he works that way, in my opinion. And I realize there are people out there who will disagree with that, and that is certainly okay. But he doesn't do parlor tricks, which is why when I see bleeding statues or statues that are crying or anything like this. It's just, in my opinion, it's from the other side. So this I do find interesting, shifting gears here. Muslim men in Gaza see Christ after over 200 dreams or 200 men dream of Jesus on the same night. More than 200 Muslim men in Gaza have converted to Christianity after reportedly seeing Jesus in their dreams, said Christian professor Michael Licona. Licona teaches New Testament studies at Houston Christian University and has also written a number of books, including The Case for the Resurrection of Jesus and Paul Meets Muhammad. So this is his Facebook post. Let's see what he said. God is working in the midst of war. The news coming out of Palestine from underground Christian ministries. Over the past 2 days, we have ministered to hundreds of fathers who have lost most, if not all, of their children in the war. As we moved these men to safety, we fed them, washed their clothes, and began to read the Bible to them, sharing the way of peace through Christ Jesus. Then a big miracle happened. Last night, Jesus appeared to more than 200 of them in their dream. Continuing. So the last part of the article, I would even say it's the normal experience, said Dick Brogdon, a missionary for the Assemblies of God, a Pentecostal Christian organization. It would be accurate to say that Muslims are responding to Jesus at levels we have never seen, not in 1,400 years. Okay, let me weigh in on this. In our Watches series, we actually showed a man who was head of the underground church in Iran. We disguised his voice, his face, his hands, so there's no way they can identify him. But they are seeing miracles, and one of the miracles that this man talked about. But here's what's interesting about this. This pastor in Iran said that he went out to this shack, and because this man had an encounter. A knock on the door would happen right before he would be ready for bed, and this man came in, and he was kind of glowing, whatever, and he said, "Do you have any paper and pen?" And the guy said, "Yes, why? I want you to write something down." And so he began to do this, and the man would fall asleep in the midst of the writing, and then he would wake up the next morning and realize what would happen. The next night, the same man would knock on the door, and he was dressed in a white robe, and he sat down with the man, and he would continue dictating. Well, when this pastor from Iran got out there, it's the entire book of John. And I'll try to dig up that clip so you guys can see it. Folks, we have two stories here. The first story is a canard, the bleeding statue, okay? And I get that. And so people will look at that and go, there is no such thing as a supernatural. But those of us who believe in the guidebook of a supernatural know that there is a supernatural world, and it does manifest to people like you and me. And here's the deal. The second story, I believe, is true. I can't vet that, but we've heard this before, where the Lord begins to appear in people's dreams, and it's dramatic. It's not some fuzzy dream. I mean, he's there. People are experiencing the grace and the goodness of Jesus, and they come to him. They open their hearts to him. So we need to pray that the Lord would show his face, show his strong arm here. And we also pray for the peace of Jerusalem, the peace of Israel. That doesn't go away. But at the same token, folks, what happened with the 1,400 people who were mercilessly slaughtered a little over a month ago now, right? I understand why the Israelis are doing what they're doing. And just so you know, Hezbollah has not backed down in the north. So it has not escalated, but they have not backed down. Meantime, we're seeing real miracles happening in Israel. Thanks so much for watching, folks. We'll be back tomorrow with a interesting UFO report. Remember, the supernatural world is real and surrounds us, and sometimes it manifests to people like you and me. Thanks so much for watching.